Oh, psych! I'm not singing the theme tune. This is SpongeBob SquarePants teaches typing. SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, ha ha ha, teaches typing! Ah! SpongeBob SquarePants teaches typing. How many more of these games am I going to do? There's no point wasting time. SpongeBob SquarePants is going to teach us the same thing that we've already spent 5 games learning how to do, which I already know how to do. The redundancy continues. Hi SpongeBob. SpongeBob and his friends is going to... SpongeBob and his friends don't quite think that we've done enough typing. So, but Twinkleberry hasn't actually learned to type well enough. I think that's what we're going with here. So she needs to learn how to type. So she's not good enough yet. So she's going to continue with SpongeBob and friends. So, wait, new player. I guess we had to click that, did we? No, this is the new player. Twinkleberry's a new player. Say hello to Twinkleberry, everyone. Let her, make her feel comfortable. Just like she'd want to make you feel comfortable. So SpongeBob and friends are... Oh, it's the learning company. Alright, SpongeBob is a cartoon character. You've probably heard of him. He's famous. He's quite well known. 1990s. Never really cared for him personally, to be honest with you. Even back then, I thought, I'm not really very pleased with this. But look who backed the wrong donkey, because SpongeBob's easily one of the most successful children's cartoon characters of all time. Well, I don't actually know if that's true, but he's certainly a big one, isn't he? They're still making him. Let's see what the plot is. Mr. Krabs is he's found... Oh, crap! Is this Mario teaches typing too? He's found the magic typewriter. Is he going to try and blow up Bowser's castle with it? I mean, Plankton's tower, or whatever Plankton had.
Mr. Krabs, that is a typewriter. Does it make money?
Alright, well, looks like they got the actual voice actors from the show to voice this thrilling storyline. With I would have said that looked really out of place, the photographic typewriter in the cartoon, but actually I think SpongeBob does that sort of thing all the time, doesn't it? There's an episode where Nosferatu appears, isn't there, from like the 1920s Nosferatu movie. Anyway, well, I've not actually been listening to this. There's a typing, like Mr. Krabs found a typewriter and he's so excited about typing he's decided to create a typewriting competition where the grand prize is a bloody burger. But everybody wants it. All the generic stock fish lined up and Squidward there. Oh, there's SpongeBob himself. SpongeBob SquarePants cat searching for a jellyfish.
SpongeBob, do you even know what you're standing in line for?
Nope.
It's for
Why is
the
there a halo on him?
Bikini Bottom Typing Tournament.
No.
I'm serious, why? Anyway,
tapping.
this you might not know this, but this is from this is an old game, from 2001 or something. Maybe you could tell that easily enough. But it's not bad animation for back then. I got all the actors. Oh, there's what's his name? Patrick Star, the Star of Fish.
No.
I remember. I've not forgotten this. Oh no, that's turned into Hugo. Me and Me. That was it, yeah, so that's the plot. So SpongeBob wants to learn how to type. To win the $5 sandwich. It sounds like a SpongeBob plot. I'll get back to what I was about to say in a second. Let's not waste it. Oh my, why is it so slow? Shut up, SpongeBob. All these characters just can't stop talking, can they? And these typing tournament, typing adventure, type games for children typing. They just never stop. I've been sitting here fiddling with the settings for the last couple of minutes, and SpongeBob will not shut up. Every 10 seconds he thinks the children need to hear his voice, or they'll lose interest or something. Shut up, SpongeBob! Now, well, this is the options. Finger positions, audio, stats. I mean, there's nothing, is there? These things always had certificates, didn't they? They really thought the children would really want to have printable certificates for stuff. Practice, glove. What's Neffa's Glove World? Is that a thing from the show? I probably offended the entire internet when I said that I never really liked SpongeBob. But there you go. I know that. I know, much like The Simpsons, it's not such an unpopular opinion to think SpongeBob's not very good now, because much like The Simpsons, SpongeBob went into a nosedive into mediocrity, didn't he? I mean, I can't actually say that because I've not seen it, but Why did I pick the easy one? What's wrong with me? Do the hard one. Hang on.
It's time for
Star is
fashion
born.
and a star is born. Are you
Wait, what's...
ready, kids?
Welcome to
Okay,
a
I clicked
star
the
is
difficulty
born.
and then
I didn't know
you choose the
Patrick was such a
game
good
to
dresser.
play.
We're getting
I'm
closer.
going to let this sponge talk. I was thinking about SpongeBob a while ago. Actually, just a coincidence, really. We're creating, we're colouring in Patrick. Top of his head looks a tad bit questionable. I'm not saying anything. Oh, there we are. It's good. Not quite as questionable as he does look there, though. But here you go. Just an average Saturday night at the club where they go. So there's Patrick. No, I was going to say, I was thinking about SpongeBob. I was thinking about how he... he's a sponge, and he lives in the water, but sponges, they're all normal when they're, like, when they're dry, but when a sponge gets wet, it gets all squidgy and watery and stuff, you know? It's all slobbery, globbery, and... Like, SpongeBob must feel like that, you know, all the time. He's got water all in him. He's drenched, you know, he's a soaked sponge. You know what I'm saying? Did you ever really think about that? I mean, probably not. Alright, so Gary the snail is going to have a snail race. And...
You can help Gary.
Am I the one at the top? Am I the one at the blooming top? Am I losing terribly to these two at the bottom? There can't be. Surely not.
I think Slime Biscuit is an eyeball ahead. It's Slime Biscuit by an
Please tell me that
eyeball.
didn't... That, was I that blue one up there? No, I wasn't. I was actually thinking I was the blue one. I don't know why I thought I was the blue one. What's he eating? What is that? Grass? Underwater grass. Anyway, SpongeBob, that's him. We'll play the rest of the games later. Let's jank this really bad mouse over to the... Hey, what's over here? You know, this always bothers me in games, when there's a path like that at the side of the screen. You think, oh, can you go there? But no, you can't. You can't go there. There's no... You'd think you could click that and move on to something else. Right, I don't need to practice. I gotta say, there's not too much stuff here. There's Glove World. I mean, let's compare this to, I don't know.
Click on the Krusty Krab.
Timon and Pumbaa teaches... well, let's see. I was going to say that there's not really much stuff here, but it reflects there's not really much anywhere. There's the games over here, and then there's just the practice and the actual main typing lessons thing in the middle. I guess that all these typing tutors were pretty simple, really, weren't they? What could they do exactly? How could they add so many features? Oh yeah, oh that's right. Speaking of, I was talking about photorealistic typewriters. Is that the photo fish? That's right. I remember that thing. Photo fish. Anyway, the ergonomics. That's a big word for the childs. I'm not even sure I know what it means now. Alright, so we got a type. Spuds. Oh, yeah, of course, the posture thing, yes. That's the broken back that no kid ever gets. It's like when they're 20 years older, they'll have that. That's what could happen to you, kids. You might turn into a monstrous demon sponge. SpongeBob did like to pull out the weird demonic faces, didn't he? Some very odd, very chilling images. I remember in SpongeBob, they'd randomly just have a really well-drawn picture of one of the faces would look really well-drawn, and it would be really creepy. That happened every now and then, didn't it? Anyway, I remember reading this years and years ago. On this website, this forum, there was this woman had a GeoCities webpage or something where she was ranting about SpongeBob. I've never forgotten this. She's the only person that's pointed this out that I've ever seen. She was angry that SpongeBob was just a rip-off of Rocko's Modern Life. She was convinced that this show was just completely stolen all of its stuff from that. I've never seen anyone else suggest that, but I suppose there's certainly similarities, if you've ever even heard of that show. I think they're making a remake of that, aren't they? They're both Nickelodeon, but they're both about, like, a sort of, I don't know, a small character of a boring job that lives in a suburban neighbourhood with a stupid fat idiot friend, and, actually I think that's about all the similarities, aren't there? There's not... I mean, I guess they did have kind of similar sense of humour. Anyway, that's about it. So this is like I'm typing SpongeBob SpongeBob. What am I doing? Shut up, SpongeBob. I sure tell a lot of people to shut up in these videos, don't I? I guess I just like to tell people to shut up. Kawapo? What am I doing?
Just think how hard this
Try
would
not
be
to look
if
at the
you were a
keyboard yet.
clam.
How do I What do I... What? How do I win? Where is the thing to make it progress? I clicked SpongeBob. Patrick looks like he's not able to do anything right now.
Just type the word you see into the typing area. It's easy.
I'm not sure. I think SpongeBob didn't quite have the guts that Rocco did it? Rocco had some pretty edgy content, like a lot of 90s cartoons. There's a tremendous amount of innuendo, and more so than most. People talk about the Animaniacs, how they said, oh, the fingerprints and stuff. Rocco went beyond blooming that. There's no comparison. Whenever Rocco was, I mean, I can't even, like, how about the episode where... How about the episode when Rocco gets a job working in a phone sex hotline centre? How about that? And then the wife of his next door neighbour phones him, and they both realise who each other is and hang up immediately. How about that? Was that in SpongeBob? How about the Krusty Krab here has got nothing in the choky chicken restaurant, has it? You won't be getting your chicken choked in the Krusty Krab, I'm sure. Well, I'm still talking on this page here. I did like Rocco's Modern Life. That was one of my favourite cartoons. But I'll tell you what's not one of my favourite things. I don't know what I was supposed to do there. What on earth is this? Did I have to press the enter button? Alright, well, you know, I'm guessing like with Timon and Pumbaa touch the topping. There'll be a parental secret bonus mode. I'm not going through the... No, I'm not doing this. Stuff the quizzes. Oh, we'll do this a little bit. But much like Timon and Pumbaa, SpongeBob has a lot to say, doesn't he? Again, like Rafiki and that, I'm guessing they really did get the Lion King actors in Timon and Pumbaa's typing adventures. So, the cast of, like, SpongeBob here must have got paid quite a bit of pretty penny to say all of this stuff about typing. He probably recorded more lines for this game than he has for the whole show. Well, maybe that was true when this game came out, but obviously not after 20 years or so. I never really thought much about it, but don't voice actors get paid, like famous voice actors? Don't they get a lot of money, or do they not? I mean, the Simpsons cast, for example, how much do they earn at this point? I would have assumed they're like jet-setting superstars, right? Or do they just not get anything? I mean, something's telling me that they probably, if SpongeBob charged an arm and a leg to supply his voice to the character, then they probably wouldn't have had him talk about typing for 5 hours, would they, for this game? It probably would have cost him $1 million. But I'm pretty sure it's him. It's not a voice impersonator, is it? Whoa! Ah! Oh, is that Patrick? Oh well, it's a good thing I stuck around. We get to play a fun, exciting, actually pretty boring looking, honestly, game. I pressed the first button, but it's not happy. Oh, it was... These letters are so small. I can barely... What is that? I can't even tell what that is. Okay, it was a semicolon, but what about that thing up to the top right? I wasn't finished about Rocco. The scene where Spunky the dog is like briefly seen having a fairly pleasant experience with a magazine in front of him, and there's a white puddle on the floor. It's all very...
No, I can figure this out.
I think Rocco had everybody beat, and nobody seemed to notice. Still gently got to type. Da 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 da. SpongeBob, look at this little spongy sponge self. Sponge. I don't quite know why SpongeBob of all things became so huge. I don't know why he... This is, by the way, this is exactly the game from that Mavis Beacon, the latest version of Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing from 2017. This is just like that. There was a game like this. The only difference is that there's no smog monsters here to hurt us. SpongeBob will not be hurt by the smog. I could have skipped this typing thing if I'd gone up to the left and around and up and left and down and up there. It's too late to complain about past mistakes now, SpongeBob. It's weird to me how SpongeBob has become such a massive thing, because why SpongeBob? It's kind of an odd He's an underwater sea sponge with underwater friends that just live like they were actually above the water, just like people above the water.
Time to get this party started.
And I mean, why this? Why did this become the huge thing? The most successful cartoon Nickelodeon ever made. There's not really anything that remarkable about it, is there? Again, I guess I just didn't jump on the bandwagon, the SpongeBob bandwagon. So I never really got it, but I don't know what sets him apart so much, especially not now. I mean, that's the thing, because it's universally agreed that the show plummeted in quality at some point about the year 2001 or something. It's not really... By the way, I'm going to keep playing this because we'll get these little games unlocked. Although I just realised, actually, the games are probably just in that games menu. Oh look, Twinkleberry... Wait. Twinkleberry already won the typing tournament? That was abrupt. Just suddenly, bam! Round 1 finished. Print your certificate. Patrick, I thought that was... thought he was eating one of Twinkleberry's cupcakes there. That stain on the ground, but no, it's just a sandwich. Oh, what's this? Ready for round 2? I guess so. SpongeBob versus his own pet snail, how tragic. Anyway, SpongeBob... Oh, he's been warming up to type. His posture won't be hurt, I'm sure. There was, Neptune. Or is that Neptune's typewriter? Is that it? Yeah, that's right, King Neptune is a character in this. I don't know why SpongeBob stuck around, because, like I said, there's such a massive dip in quality in this show, in most people's opinion, at least. I'm avoiding saying offensive things for some reason. Well, you know what, it's probably not going to take that long to get through all this, is it? We'll just keep going. Actually, wait, just jump to quiz, that's it. Really doesn't shut up, does he? So, considering how the show has just lost all of its grace, it's not, well, assuming that it's not funny anymore, it's not very good, not clever, it's not got anything worth existing over anything else anymore, why is it stuck around so long? I mean, why wouldn't they just move on to something else? Like, it's not like they got an attachment to the character, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, SpongeBob's so hilarious, so well written, so brilliant, we've got to keep him around. Like, no, that's not it, is it? He's just hanging around because he's hanging around. It's one of those self-fulfilling prophecy cycles, isn't it? He's still there simply because he's still there, and that's it. Just like the reason why Kim Kardashian is famous. Why do you care? Why do you care about her bottom? It's because it's there. That's it. That's all. Why? I mean, you can deconstruct everything, really, can't you? When you start thinking like this. Why anything? Why anything whatsoever? Because it's just sort of there. That's pretty much describes everything, doesn't it? Really, it's just there. That's why everything. Well, I don't accept that, and for that reason, I wonder why SpongeBob is still around. Just replace him. I mean, The Simpsons is the ultimate example. This isn't. The Simpsons are there because they're there. Don't try and tell me there's any other reason for them to still exist. It's simply because they're there. They're collective. They're cultural sledge. They're a cultural truck. I'm looking for a big, powerful thing. Like they're cultural. I don't know. Enormous weight that they've got to them. Like they're a massive, enormous steamroller. Yeah, they're cultural steamroller that they are. They are everywhere and in everything. They're so deeply entrenched, you're not killing them. Much like Mickey Mouse, he won't die. Twinkleberry can do what she wants to him, he's not going anywhere. And so is it the same with SpongeBob. I think that... SpongeBob. Oh, SpongeBob, will you... Why am I doing this? Jump to the... Okay, it's time for the quiz. Let's have fun with the quiz. I can't... I've never tried to do SpongeBob's voice. That laugh is about the only thing I ever did for him. Oh. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, SpongeBob. You probably want to hear my really controversial opinions about why... Well, I don't actually have any opinions, but you probably want to hear about why I didn't really take to SpongeBob, don't you? Well, not any particular reason. I just wasn't especially impressed with him. Even back then. Even back in 1999, I didn't really see what the fuss was. Alright, what now? Round 3. Didn't have a problem with him. Well, just wasn't really very enamored of him. I don't know. The Sandy Cheeks, the squirrel, she annoyed me because she sort of... what on earth? SpongeBob's managed to get sponge wrist from... He's got, what do they call it? Oh dear. Wait, why is Abraham Lincoln... never mind. Why is, SpongeBob got, what do they call it? A repetitive sponge injury. You know what, I'll tell you this about this game over Timon and Pumbaa. It's got a lot more cutscenes, isn't it? They put more effort into the cutscenes and stuff. Timon and Pumbaa had the introduction cutscene, and then there was really... Every other thing you'd call a cutscene in the game was just either using the in-game graphics, or it was just a still image with the voices attached to it. So SpongeBob did do better. No, quiz. I keep forgetting to skip to the quiz. My opinions about... what's her name? Sandy Cheeks. She felt to be like she was the normal character. She struck me as the normal one, and that always that annoyed me, because I'd never liked the normal characters in cartoons. When there was like somebody that was just normal. And I mean... I don't know if that's an accurate way to describe it, but I got that feeling from her. Like, she's the one that will react in the way that like a normal person would react. I always had this sort of distaste for normal things in cartoons. It probably says a lot about me, really. That didn't really take well to her. Not that she appears very much. I don't know, I just didn't really care for the show. I don't know how to explain it. Oh no, I'll tell you, on a tangent there. Speaking of comedies and stuff, I always had a problem in general with normal characters that don't have any personality. Because in a lot of comedy stuff, I mean, it doesn't just have to be comedies, but we'll just talk about comedies for the sake of argument here. There's a thing you see in a lot of shows, especially sketch shows and things, where, especially when it's a sketch show about where there's just one character. Like there's one, it's one actor. It's, the show is really about one actor that was the main character. He plays all the characters in it, all the big characters, and everyone else is just sort of extras. Like, trying to think of an example Americans would relate to. But unfortunately I can't, so we'll just have to stick with British things. There was Harry Enfield and Chums from the 90s. It was really mainly about Harry. The Catherine Tate Show. Nobody probably remembers that. That was a sort of not very long one. The Catherine Tate Show is the one where I got annoyed at this, because there was a lot of characters where they're just sort of there to feed lines to Catherine herself. Like, they're just there to say, oh, hey, Catherine, you shouldn't drink that juice. And Catherine says, what? I'm on a diet! And the audience laughs. They never say anything interesting themselves. Nothing they say is inherently funny, unless they're saying something about the main character. Like, Catherine's come to stay over. Oh yeah, knowing Catherine, she'll probably, destroy the universe while she's here. The audience laughs, Nobody but her would ever actually do something that was inherently funny, just like that was them being funny. And they would never do anything interesting either. They'd have no personality that wasn't just normal. That's the thing. Everything they did would be normal. It's the normal thing. And then Catherine says, "Ah, my vegetables are in the fridge freezer." That's pretty much what that was. That always annoyed me. So I always had this thing about characters that don't really have an interesting personality and stuff like this. Always felt annoyed. It bothered me. It always felt lazy. When I do a comedy thing or whatever, everybody, the way I see it is everybody should be able to do something interesting. I'm not saying they all have to be like really weird and wacky. I'm not even saying they don't have to. I'm not even saying they can't just be fairly normal people. But I feel as though every character, even like even one that just says one line once, they should all be able to do something interesting. They shouldn't just be the normal person, like normal person A or B. There's always be the possibility that they've got some more. They've got more to them than that. That's how I always saw it, anyway. I don't know why I harped on about Sandy for so much with that. I don't think she even was a normal character, was she really? But that was the sense I got from her. There's a famous British comedy show called, was it Fawlty Towers? People tend to like that. That's regarded as a famous British comedy. It's one of the best ones ever made, which explains why it's like 6 episodes long or something. They barely made any of it, like all British things. I'm not especially enamoured of that one either, to be honest with you. And I'll tell you one thing that is because of it's the same thing applies with the waitress woman, whatever her name is, the one that was John Cleese's actual wife in real life, instead of the woman that was like 3 times her age that was supposed to be her wife in the show. The waitress woman, she was the normal character. That was how it's not the right key. That was how she was just like she was normal. She reacted to everything in the normal way. She didn't really have a interesting personality. She was just the one to feed lines to the funny ones and stuff, and that bothered me as well. I've never liked that sort of thing. I'm not accusing SpongeBob of lazy writing or anything. I just thought I'd use that opportunity to go on a tangent about how I feel about writing characters and stories. I was talking about comedy, but really, I'd apply that to anything. I've never liked when a character just hasn't had any thought put into them, or when they can't, I don't know, they can't be something. Hang on, oh, it's an exclamation. You know it when you see it, don't you? You know it when someone's just there to move the plot along or something like that, and there's no more to them than that. What do you want to do today, SpongeBob? The high school English teacher would have complained about there not being a comma there, but the same high school English teacher would have said that you shouldn't split your infinitives. But apparently that's not actually true. That's an urban legend from the Victorian times, I read. Just nobody noticed it wasn't true. Like most things in life, really. Nobody noticed they're not true. Patrick, oh, I'm not reading out this enthralling, hilarious story that SpongeBob is... We're really moving up the round ranks here, aren't we? Round 4. I wonder how long this is. I hope there's not like a million rounds. We're moving up. Oh, it's the driving instructor woman. She's got an evil rock and roll heavy metal typewriter. And SpongeBob's got a nice pretty My Little Pony typewriter. How sweet. Right, SpongeBob. I don't know what the joke was there. I wasn't listening. What was... I guess just the different opposite. It's the boys versus the girls, isn't it? G.I. Joe versus Twilight Sparkle. Who will win? Who knows? Kick. Shouted Mrs. Kane at the students in her tap class. Yeah, what's her name? What's that woman's name? I don't know. SpongeBob. He's unstoppable, isn't he? This isn't the My Little Pony keyboard. What's going on? It's just the normal... Well, actually, it's not even. It's just a bunch of keys on top of a barrel, isn't it? I don't get why Mrs. What's-Her-Face was using a rock and roll boys heavy metal keyboard. I don't remember her character having anything like that in it. Wasn't she a really timid, frightened sort of... She was just petrified all the time because SpongeBob kept crashing the car thing they were driving. I don't remember her having any kind of personality like this at all.
Well, here we are in the lesson area.
Oh, yeah.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Quiz time! Oh, yeah!
The Godlin Gate Bridge, no. The third longest bridge in the world. How interesting, how fascinating. Isn't that fascinating, everyone? Aren't you glad you knew that? Like, doesn't that mean something? That's how I always reacted to things like that. What a meaningful fact to be aware of, right? It's the third largest thing. What? Cucumbers sliced 79 tomatoes. They don't grow tomatoes in the sea! Oh, this isn't canon. Nosferatu didn't live underwater. How do they explain that? Huh? SpongeBob? That's what I thought. No answer, right? Yeah, I should have known. We can't trust SpongeBob anymore. Oh yeah, Employee of the Month. Wasn't that something SpongeBob was always trying to become? Squidward. You know, Squidward's the one that that most of the kids watching don't really like. They like to see him getting messed up. He's the one that when they get like 15 years older, they start relating to him the most out of everybody, don't they? That's what Squidward is, isn't he? He was just a grouchy, fed up with life one that works a worthless job all the time and hates his happy next door neighbour. He's the one that all the kids grow up and realise, oh wait, I've just become Squidward. I've got to say, that didn't happen to me. I still relate more to the Spongers. Right, let me fix the recording better before it doesn't better to bet. Give me a second. Okay, back to the typing adventure. Good job! Poor SpongeBob, I'm cutting into all of his lines. He's not saying anything. You know, I wonder though, SpongeBob did say all of this stuff in this game, but I've got a feeling the voice actors don't get paid much. Maybe, I can believe the Simpsons ones maybe get a ton out of it, because, you know, I've got a suspicion that the only reason the Simpsons actually really exist anymore is because everybody involved in it doesn't want to give up the paycheck at this point. I think that's the real reason, isn't it? They probably all managed to luck out and working on an absolute smash hit success show. They got massive super million 6-7 figure salaries. They just don't want to let any of that go anymore. They just think, right, let's ride this wave. Let's hope nobody notices that it's all terrible now. We'll just keep on collecting overly inflated paychecks for this zombie series. Hope nobody notices. I don't think that most actors get that though. Most voice actors don't really. It's not a lucrative profession, I think. I don't really know. I don't think it is. Help SpongeBob SquarePants defeat Mrs. Puff. There, Mrs. Puff, that's it. Where's the arrow thing gone? I can't see the I want to click back, but like it's not a thing. What is going on here? What is happening? Has the spirit of the SpongeBob SquarePants fanbase possessed my computer to wreck this recording? They're so upset with what I said. I hope that... Oh good, I was really afraid that it had lost all the progress. I was in the middle of talking about voice actors. I don't think they get much, so... because it's apparently somewhat well known that an awful lot of successful voice actors... a lot of successful children's cartoon voice actors started their career in Japanese hentai, which is Japanese pornographic cartoons. I don't think that's a myth to say that. I think that actually is something that happens a lot. The man that voices Dr. Robotnik at the moment in Sonic the Hedgehog, or Dr. Eggman, did that. They probably all did. That's the famous, the tentacle... The tentacles. I probably don't need to say any more than that, do I? It's the famous tentacles stuff. Although I've got a personal suspicion that the tentacles thing is like something that doesn't actually happen at all. I don't know where... That strikes me as one of those things that's probably actually a really racist stereotype. Like, if you actually thought about it, it'd be an incredibly culturally insensitive thing to say, but it's one of those things that just sort of seems to get a free pass in that, even in these politically correct times. Nobody complains. Just like when you see when you see stereotypical Scotsman with his what do they call it, the hat thing and the tossing a keyboard and eating some haggis. Oh aye, kilts, sibes. Nobody bats style at that either. I mean, including me. Let's see. I'm Scottish, if you didn't know that. It might be confusing. I remember at least one person thought that we were Australian. Back when Hotel Mario, the movie. These accents can be confusing, can't they? It's a big, confusing world, isn't it? Well... If you spared my life, I would be sure to repay your kindness. There's my attempt at getting into a Japanese anime, the hentai dubbing thing. Just call me up right now, Hetoko Tarashabi. I'll be all the tentacles you want. I'll voice the tentacles. I'll voice the tentacles. Yeah, well, someone's got to do it, haven't they? Now, what, yeah, you might be, if you didn't know about what I just said about the hentai thing, maybe you might want to look it up. You might be surprised by some of your beloved childhood familiar voice actors might have turned up to... If you have a look at their career history, if they haven't brushed it under the carpet, you might find some interesting stuff in there, that's all I'm saying.
One key at a time.
I'm sure they were young and needed the money, is what they'd say. But we all know the real reason, don't we? That's right. They just wanted to be squids. Is this... What's happening here, by the way? Good... Oh wait, have I just been repeating the same thing over and over again? Yeah, I have, haven't I? This is all done. It's the end, right? Or is it, actually? Hang on. Like, I wanted to, like, take back what I just did. But all of these options seemed like they were doing bad things. Like, end lesson, just quit all of this. Leave the place. Start over as to begin again. Like, I wanted to just go back, and I'm guessing that's cancel. But cancel, in the middle of there, cancel kind of sounds like it's also going to destroy the game. Like, it'll quit the game or something. Or I don't know, like, leave the whole thing. I might as well have just started over, because I hadn't even started anyway. Squidward just looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. SpongeBob looks like he's a happy sponge, though. He's got it all figured out. Look at that smile. He looks like Mr. Happy from the Mr. Men. You ever seen that? Mr. Happy? He's a big happy Mr. Happy smile of happiness. That is one of the happiest looking happy smiles I've ever happied in my whole happy. SpongeBob's got on his countenance. It's good to see such a happy so-and-so. It's nice how SpongeBob is so happy to be happy, working a miserable 9-to-5 burger flipping job for a money-grubbing, penny-pinching crab, who inexplicably has an enormous beluga whale as a daughter, if I remember right. Is that right? Don't know how that happened, but maybe one of those crazy tentacle animes had something to do with it. Anyway, let's see what we can do with this textual text that I'm typing on the screen here. Can we beat Squidward? This is it. I'm going to have to put Squidward in his place. We'll show him and his boring, grumpy, normal person self, who's boss. That's right. He won't come back again after this. There's not many characters in SpongeBob, is there? Oh, yeah, speaking of normal characters, actually, I was talking about how much Twinkleberry wins. Twinkleberry beats Squidward's not very pleased there. Is that it? Is that just the whole thing? I mean, isn't there an ending? They went to all the trouble of having all those cutscenes. Let's have a look at the lesson chart. You are here. Huh? Let's go to this. Jumbo Grand Final. What on earth? The secrets. This is like the post-game final, super secret final boss. Where you had to unlock him, get 100%, and now we can get the real final challenge. Oh, crumbs! It's my arch nemesis, Sandy. See, the game programmer's new. I hated her. What on earth? Oh, that's right. She said I've got a weird robot suit thing, hasn't she? Or does? Yeah, she's sort of got a spacesuit on all the time, hasn't she? Because she's a squirrel, yeah. Oh, there's cheese as well. And now it's looking better. All the generic fish in the background. I hate to say it to SpongeBob, but that ties into what I was talking about, normal characters. Sandy doesn't really count. It's them that I was thinking of. There's all the stock fish. There's so many just normal fish in this show. Whenever you see a fish that's not one of the main characters, they're just always a normal fish. Like, they're sort of just normal. Well, actually, maybe not, but they don't tend to have a personality, do they? That's what my memory's telling me, at least. The normal fish will walk into the burger joint and say, I would like to have a burger, please, sir. And if he doesn't receive his burger in time, he complains. And, like a fairly generic way. I don't know. This might all be, like, false memories here. I'm not actually sure. Maybe I'm not being fair to the Spongers. Maybe I should watch his show again and give him another chance. I've not actually seen him for about 20 years. Determinedly. Is that a word? I guess it is. It's SpongeBob. With his effeminate eyelashes. He's got the female eyelashes, hasn't he? In cartoons, the women always have the stuck up. Oh, they've gone! What happened to them? SpongeBob doesn't care because he got his grand prize. Of course, the sandwich he wanted. The $5 grand sandwich that he earned. What happened to his eye? There they are, back. I was actually wondering what happened to his eyelashes. Where have they gone? Oh, it's because his eyes are closed. That's it. Look at that, yeah. So SpongeBob's a bit of a gender bender. He'd fit in well with modern times. I guess that's why SpongeBob stuck around. He doesn't have a gender, does he? He's very like modern with gender identity. There's Sandy preparing to beat SpongeBob up for beating her. So he didn't even appear. Like, none of these characters, they said, like, we're going to battle Squidward and, who else? The others. None of them actually did anything. So, oh, wait, she did. Well, she did appear in a robot suit, but that was it. She didn't come back. Right, what now? Is that the end? Yeah, of course, we got the sandwich, yeah. SpongeBob got his sandwich, right. I'm glad. Now we can get back out of this load of nonsense. Look at the options menu. It looks like there's going to be, like, a million things, doesn't there? Look at all this space, but it's just this. Something tells me we're not going to be unlocking 20 more icons on the screen. I'm pretty sure we've probably already seen pretty much the whole game. But before we close off with SpongeBob, we might as well show all the games. It's not terribly many of them, actually. There's only 5, counting all these. Senseless Patrick. Looks like... Oh, it's that maze game that we played, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to skip that completely. I guess that you have to play... I skipped all the lessons and went straight to the quizzes, so I guess that's why I didn't play these games during the main event. That's alright, we'll lick them all up here. We'll slurp them up like SpongeBob himself. Sandy Cheeks. You know, I didn't get the name either, the pun, like Sandy Cheeks or Cheeks of Sandy, but why? What do squirrels have to do with sand? Hang on, what's going on? SpongeBob? Right, well, type the C, I guess. Oh, SpongeBob's doing that crazy SpongeBob dance. Oh, whoa, yeah, wee! Yeah, oh! What, space? I didn't realise space was highlighted there. Yeah, SpongeBob, move those sponge appendages that you've got somehow. I didn't think sponges had arms and legs. Who wrote this show? This is ridiculous. I demand to see the writer. This is unacceptable. What are we teaching the children? Honestly, Nosferatu doesn't live under the water. Everybody knows that. It's ridiculous. We're going to poison the mines. This is even worse than the Teletubbies, so they all said "eh-oh" to each other instead of "hello." What worse way to destroy an entire generation's vocabulary? Because that definitely happened, didn't it? All the children that grew up in the late 90s definitely can't say hello, right? Because of the Teletubbies. Makes sense, doesn't it? Well, it did to parents at the time. Crumbs, this is all... I'm starting to wonder if maybe the Mavis Beacon Company made this. Yeah, look at that. This is the Mavis Beacon game. Right down to the splatter when you get a mistake. Maybe the Mavis Beacon people actually made all of these typing games. It certainly does feel Mavis-y. I'm feeling the Mavis here. I'm thinking that they just made all of these. Mavis Beacon Corporation. Thanks, SpongeBob. I'm pleased. Twinkleberry wins. She's finally learned how to type, but I think she's still not quite satisfied. She's going to have to come back with some even more typing adventures before all this is done. So look forward to that. What's in the practice there? There's the strongman lobster, hermit crab, whatever it is. Whoa, SpongeBob. What are you hiding there? What are you hiding behind your back, SpongeBob? What's he got? A mistletoe? For me, you shouldn't have. How sweet. SpongeBob's declared his love for me. He was always hiding away. Fight for your right to party. That's copyrighted. That's the name of a song. How do I get in that? How do I get inside of SpongeBob? I've got to find out. Oh, rats. I was wanting them to keep saying that, but he didn't. Like, I thought he'd keep repeating it over and over again. SpongeBob went to see Patrick one day. Patrick! He called, outside of Patrick's house. I'm in here, SpongeBob! But you'd never tell the difference. Patrick said... Oh wait, why do I keep doing that wrong? But SpongeBob peeked in and figured out what the problem was.
You're out of shape, Patrick. You need to exercise.
Oh no, they're not going to teach the children about exercise, are they? That's the last thing we want. Exercising? Oh no. Oh, stuff that. Let's get out of here. Oh no, we're stuck now. We've got to fight for a right to party after all. So let's handing him a flag. Let's. You can exercise your freedom. Oh, exercise your freedom. So SpongeBob gave Patrick a flag to wave, so that he can wave the flag. That'll exercise him. Does sound like the kind of thing that would happen to SpongeBob. Good job, Patrick. Keep going. Oh, keep going. Keep going. You can exercise your right to vote. What? What is this? What is this imperialist American propaganda for the kids? Exercise your right to vote, kids. How dare you, SpongeBob? Teaching the kids to be responsible citizens. What's the world coming to? Well, I mean, I get it. The point is that it's a bunch of puns about exercise. Oh, exercise the right to vote. Exercise your, I don't know, whatever else. You know, that's the idea. It's not really funny though when it's just written down, is it? Like, this would be pretty good if it was happening in the cartoon, but typing it up, it's just, you know. It's not really as funny. That was practice. I don't feel like doing all of those. What was that stuff at the top of the screen, though? Oh, it's the different sections. Poppy Puff. Is that Mrs. Puff's full name? Poppy Puff? I bet you didn't know that. Any SpongeBob fact fans at home there? Did you know her first name is Poppy? Let's see. Patrick Star. For some reason, I thought he had two R's in Star, but no, it's one. Squid with tentacles. I knew about tentacles being his last name. They really didn't try very hard, did they? Eugene H. Krabs. That was probably like a little throwaway joke in one episode once. How he had a daft name. Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, that's right. Sheldon Plankton. Yeah, Poppy Puff, and I don't know who Flats the Flounder is. Who's he? I don't recognise that name.
Hey, we're in the practice area. Do you want to practice? Hey, we're in the practice area.
Sea Poems, the sardine that wanted to be free. That's when the moon hits your eye and then you takes a bite of your snout. That's amore. Just like Mario. You do just like Mario, okay? Oh, not boring facts about real animals. Ugh. Salty sea tails, the Bermuda Triangle. Isn't that a... Not sure about this, but the famous Bermuda Triangle, I read that apparently it doesn't even exist. Is that right? I seem to just stop bothering, like, learning things at some point. I read that because of the famous Bermuda Triangle, where all the planes it's supposed to... It's like a triangular region somewhere. It's a area that's you can draw a triangle around it, and that's where a bunch of planes are supposed to have mysteriously crashed. There's more planes crashed than anywhere else. But I read that actually there isn't. It's just a myth. There isn't any more planes crashing there than anywhere else. Is that right? I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that's what I've read. Apparently the whole thing is just completely... Supposedly the whole thing is just entirely unfounded. I don't know whether that's true or not, though. I was wondering if maybe SpongeBob would explain it. Well, let's see what SpongeBob has to say. Hundreds of years ago, a captain leading 3 ships through there had some strange experiences. First, his crew spotted land birds. No, land birds. Land birds far out at sea. Then the compass began to act really in a way that isn't normal. And finally, a huge ball of light fell from the sky. No, go back there and feel from the sky. No. That's what the tentacles want to do. Who was this captain? None other than Christopher Columbus. Is that true? Well, alright, I guess, well, assuming that's true, I guess whoever said that it's a load of nonsense isn't quite right, because apparently Christopher Columbus had a strange experience in there. So, I guess at least one strange thing happened in the Bermuda Triangle. Oh, wait, no, I was just saying, it's supposedly that no more than... Supposedly, like, the disappearances there, if you compare it to, like, any other patch of, like, ground where planes go, it's not actually more than anywhere else, you know? It's just the same number. Not to say that nothing weird has happened there, but apparently no more weird things have happened there than you'd expect, like, compared to everywhere else. So if like aliens are coming down and scooping up a bunch of planes or whatever on Earth, or the hentai tentacle monsters are coming out of the ocean and pulling down the planes, they're doing it all over the world at once, and not just in Bermuda. Now, let's end the practice. So that's it, SpongeBob is finished. Is there anything else in the options menu that I didn't look at? No, doesn't really look like it. What's the standings? Oh, we didn't fight Plankton, did we, in the grand final? But stuff Plankton, we don't need him. Do you really, really, really want to quit? Oh, you're making me feel anxious now, SpongeBob. I don't know whether to quit or not, but I am going to quit. Goodbye, everyone.